Chances are you've all seen the bowl-cut scouser Paddy Pimblett. I mean, how could you not? Paddy, one of Dana White's new toys. Paddy Pimblett burst onto the scene with his unique look and his charismatic personality in the Cage Warriors promotion, which also launched Conor McGregor's career. His success in the cage, combined with his ability to entertain, quickly earned him a following and a hype train that seemed unstoppable. With each victory, Paddy's reputation grew, and fans eagerly anticipated his eventual move to the UFC. Paddy was also relatable. He was young, and he came from a poor background.
My mum works like 3 different jobs, lad.
Really?
Yeah, she cuts old people's hair and she does 12-hour shifts in a pub, and she's had other jobs as well. My dad's been in, I'd say, in and out of work his whole life, but work he shouldn't have been doing. So sometimes he wasn't around, and it wasn't of his own choice.
His mom often worked 3 separate jobs just to keep the lights on. After submitting Jordan Levitt at UFC Fight Night London on the 23rd of July 2022, Paddy dedicated his win to baby Lee, a 4-year-old with a tumor with whom he developed a family-like bond, who sadly passed away a few weeks earlier. Paddy was also vocal about men's mental health issues, saying,
"I want to dedicate this fight to little baby Lee, little warrior, but also I woke up on Friday morning at 4 a.m. to a message that one of my friends back home had killed himself. So Ricky, lad, that's for you. Listen, if you're a man and you've got weight on your shoulders and you think the only way you can solve it's by killing yourself, please speak to someone. Speak to anyone."
Many were enamored by Paddy's post-fight interview, and on that night, Paddy became one of the fan favorites. But hype can only take you so far. The robbery of the decade. However, his recent fight against Jared Gordon has put the brakes on the hype train, if not reversed it. On December 10th, 2022 at UFC 282, Paddy faced off against a 7-4 Jared Gordon, of whom Paddy was supposed to make quick work. However, Paddy didn't perform as expected. Gordon landed a few good hooks and even took Paddy down at the end of the first round.
Strong start for the underdog.
The second round was a bit closer, but it could have been either one. Paddy landed a few more significant strikes in the second round, but nothing extraordinary. The third and final round was complete one-sidedness on behalf of Jared, who controlled Paddy for the vast majority of the round. Most fans and media outlets scored the fight 3-0 for Jared, and then an all-too-familiar scene happened. The judges scored the fight 29-28 for a unanimous decision win for Paddy.
29-28 for the winner by unanimous decision, Paddy!
The fans were outraged, and yet Paddy managed to make it worse. During his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, Paddy claimed that the fight wasn't even close, and that the first 2 rounds were obviously his.
I'm here with the winner, Paddy The Baddy. Paddy, that was a close one.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't close.
You don't think it was a close fight at all?
Not at all. I won the first 2 rounds and then coasted in the third. I knew I was 2 rounds up, so I didn't want to do nothing dangerous and risk losing the fight. I knew for a fact I'd won the first 2 rounds pretty easily.
Paddy later doubled down on his statement, releasing a YouTube video claiming yet again that he clearly won the first 2 rounds and was simply stalling out the third. Paddy had the nerve to ask Dana for a fight of the night bonus. What more to say? After the Jared Gordon fight, many fans and fighters started questioning his morals as well as his skills in the octagon. Fighters like Drew Dauber, Ilia Topuria, and Mohamed Mokaev all criticize his fighting style, behavior, and close ties to Dana White. Both Drew Dauber and Ilia Topuria are among the favorites to face off and expose Paddy's lackluster stand-up game. However, as Drew said, Dana and the UFC won't let that happen.
That would be a fun one. I just want to fight in London at that O2 Arena, right? So if Paddy says yes, I'm all for it. But we all know that we got Dana, UFC, and all those. They won't let that happen.
Questionable fight IQ, lack of improvement, and Paddy's fighting style is an intriguing mix of striking and grappling, with a penchant for submissions. Paddy often lets his hands go and goes for wild roundhouse kicks. If he gets taken down, he puts his BJJ skills to good use. This exciting style helped him accumulate wins and build a fan base. But as he transitioned to the UFC, the competition grew fiercer. Critics began questioning whether his unorthodox style would hold up against the elite fighters in the world's premier MMA organization. In almost each of his fights, even since the Cage Warriors days, Paddy cannot evade the left hook. He just doesn't see it coming. His chin saves the day, but even so, good chins deteriorate over time. Just look at what happened to Tony Ferguson after the Gaethje fight. Paddy isn't a great striker. He doesn't tuck his chin, his defense is subpar, and it seems he doesn't understand the basics of setting up a punch or kick. His BJJ is his saving grace, but who knows for how long he'll be able to rely on it. But wait, there's more. 45 pounds more to be exact. Adding to these concerns is Paddy's well-documented love for food. When Paddy was just starting out, he got valuable advice from the former UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping, and the advice was not to gain too much weight in between his fights.
Everything is geared to losing those calories, because if you don't step on the scale at the right weight, number one, there's a potential that the fight won't go ahead. You're going to lose 20 or 30% of your purse. And there's also a good possibility that you're then going to go on and lose that fight because it's going to hinder your performance.
Yet after each and every fight, Paddy would go on an eating frenzy, devouring thousands of calories in just a single sitting.
The diet starts properly tomorrow, you know what I mean? But I'm going to try and not eat today though, because I had the Chinese last night. I'm just going to try and not eat today.
A few weeks after the fight, and Paddy would have ballooned up to 200 pounds, which is substantial for someone who has the hopes of competing in the 155-pound category.
Costco cookies, I was just getting one cookie, lumping Nutella in between, and putting another cookie on top and putting it in the microwave for 10 seconds and then just having a cookie sandwich.
Ballooning up between fights, he's often forced to focus on shedding these extra pounds during his fight camp rather than honing his skills. This lack of discipline and focus on improvement could ultimately derail his career. If Paddy wants to reach the top, he'll need to find a balance between enjoying life outside the cage and dedicating himself to the craft. As the level of competition continues to rise, Paddy must evolve as a fighter or risk being left behind. So, where is Paddy to go from here? He has two options: either apologize to his fan base, or what's left of it, and own up to his mistakes, or embrace the role of the heel. The former will be much harder and will require significant improvement to his skills, while the latter, as we all know, based on the examples of Colby and Brock Lesnar, is much more profitable. Whatever path Paddy chooses, there's no denying that he's captured the attention of fans and critics alike. As we continue to watch his story unfold, the future of Paddy the Baddy remains uncertain. But one thing is for sure, it's bound to be an interesting ride. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.